Welcome to Dad's DeFi Space. I'm Kevin, and I'm grateful that you've taken a moment out of your day to spend it with me, your guide to all things crypto and DeFi. Before we begin, remember, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, just a dad who enjoys this crypto and DeFi space. It's risky. You can lose all your money. What if I told you there is a DeFi platform tied to Coinbase's centralized exchange and it is quietly powering millions in locked liquidity, but it also could risk collapsing under its own emission structure? So that token is Aerodrome Finance, and here's why you should care now. In just a few minutes, you'll understand where Arrow is today and what's powering its rise, and whether it has value or even holds water, or is it bound to crash. Stay tuned, and I'll show you all the key metrics most analysts in this space ignore. Aerodrome is a vote locked AMM and liquidity hub for Coinbase's Layer 2 base network with over $650 million in market cap, a 1.3 billion fully diluted value. So it does have token emissions that are tied to its liquidity and voting structure. Because of this, it's been one of the protocols, especially on base, that we have been able to farm tons of Arrow reward emissions. It uses a VE Arrow model, a vote locked model, similar to Velodrome on Optimism, and it is aligning with long term holders and governance by giving more rewards. By locking Arrow and getting VE Arrow, it gives you the right to some of the protocol fees. This is their strategy to keep Arrow locked, which helps to lower supply, and inflation won't be such an issue. Right now, we're going to take a look at what's happening now with Aerodrome. Right now, Aerodrome's price is sitting right at 75 cents, down about 3 to 4% over the last day, with 668 million tokens in circulation and a total supply of 1.7 billion. The market cap of Arrow right now is around $660 million, with that fully diluted value being at 1.3 billion. And this week, Arrow has not looked good. It is down over 15%. Now, you are looking at the Aerodrome chart on the daily. Support is around 66 cents, with resistance hitting around 84 to 96, depending on what chart and what time range you're looking at. Now, this chart has been in a massive downtrend over the last, well, week and a half. Now, we topped out right around $1, and right now we are looking at around a 25% decrease over the last 10 to 12 days. Now, Aerodrome is a token that we're bullish on, but it is one you have to be aware because there is a lot of token emissions, which means you are always dealing with inflation. Now, on the daily chart, we can see that the MACD has been bearish, and the stochastic RSI is the orange riding on top of blue. We are waiting to see blue cross back over orange on the stochastic RSI on the daily. But if the stochastic RSI remains neutral or turns bearish, Aerodrome is going to bleed back into either Ether, Bitcoin. Now, if we look at on-chain data, over 1 million Arrow tokens are locked in VE Arrow. This is via the Flight Fund, which helps to increase governance participation and also allows the people who join the Flight Club by locking Arrow tokens get a portion of the trading fees. This very much should create an alignment with protocol health and negate some of the inflationary tokenomics. Now, we're going to take a look at some of the catalyst. Filming what? Oh, thanks for. Let Stella out. Aerodrome has some catalyst that it may experience in the near future. There are new sex listings that are occurring or have just occurred on Kraken and OKX with margin and perpetual trading. This launched in July of 2025. And there's integration with the demo migration and a launch of a native pool launcher for liquidity creation of new tokens and active government participation, staking incentives, LP bribes are part of the Aerodrome model that we believe will bring liquidity in. And as liquidity is brought into Aerodrome, the Aero token will gain in value. Now, this doesn't mean that the Aero token has risk or has no risk. First, Aerodrome has extremely high emissions because of their reward model. This does cause negative net earnings, almost 93 million, and creates severe dilution. So you have to have enough people buying and selling to make up for that admission rate or inflation rate of the token. Now, there's a relay converter bug that popped up in June of 2025. This did highlight some UX and security concerns and hacking potential. Now, this was refunded. The trust was fragile. It did cause a price depreciation in Arrow, but Aerodrome Finance was very transparent in how they dealt with this and brushed off some of the negative publicity. Now, Aerodrome has a heavy dependency on the base chain for adoption, so it lacks any kind of multi-chain effect. Multi-chain just gives access to more markets, and the more participants, the greater the chance people are buying that token. Now, if we go back to the Aerodrome chart, because here in a minute, we're going to be looking at some price prediction models if you stay until the end of the video. But many analysts not too long ago were seeing that cup and handle formation on Aerodrome, as you can see right here. Here's the issue. That cup and handle at this point is broken right here. That's not good. We want to see us get back above, like the 80-ish cent range, 81 to 82-cent range. Um, I think anything below this, once we find a base, could be an excellent accumulation zone for Aerodrome. But this did look a lot more bullish 2 weeks ago than it does now. Now, community sentiment as far as Aerodrome Finance is extremely mixed right now. With on Twitter, we're sitting at around 34 to 40% bullish, 65% neutral, everybody else bearish. So not bullish, not bearish, neutral, leaning a little bit towards the bearish side of things. But I want to talk about Aerodrome valuations, right? And we just said that the current token price of Aerodrome Finance is 75 cents. Market cap is 660 billion, fully diluted value of 1.3 billion, and circulating supply of $868 million, right? That means we still have a good amount of supply that's going to come into the market in the form of mostly emissions. And we need to be very aware of that inflationary model if we choose to invest in Aerodrome Finance. Now, most of what we do is we like to farm the reward fees. I don't have much Aero locked up, but I do loan out my Aero and leverage it to buy right now, usually more Ethereum. So what is going to be occurring in the near future with Aerodrome that could lead to suspense and bullish momentum in the market? There's still going to be an argument of whether emissions destroy value or sustain value with its liquidity. But big immediate question over the short term and the near term is, will Arrow be able to flip $1 and will they be able to sustain it? Or is it going to snap back all the way down to, say, 65 cents or 50 cents? Let's hope not, due to this unlock pressure and bearish sentiment in the market. But before we conclude the video, I wanted to go over an Aerodrome Finance kind of pricing model that we are looking at as far as where we think the price could go. I don't want to get into too much details or even math with this video. But what I would like to do is we're just going to take a look at the Fib-based extension. And if we go back, hold up, to the bottom of the bottom, right? It's the bottom of our last massive dip, which Monday, April 7th, and we were sitting at 28 cents. And our local top right now is about $1.08, right? And so far, we've corrected down here, but let's go down like we did a full correction and we end up back down at 60-ish, 67, 68 cents. And this is going to give you kind of a roundabout idea where some of the fib lines are meeting. Now, if we actually go where we are now, let's say we have a rebound tomorrow, looking at the fib levels, you can see that our one level is sitting right about $1.47, hitting pretty well this line of support, right? And then we have the 1.6, which is close, actually, give or take, let's say $1.93. And then we have our all-time high price, the hold on one second, $2.38, give or take, right? And then we're going to get into some of our price predictions, right? First one I'm probably going to be taking a look at is a 2x from the all-time high, which is 3.88. As you notice, this is not an upper price prediction. These are ladder out points. What that means is that each of these lines on the chart would be where I take 10% off the table, 20% off the table, 50% off the table, and maybe increase that amount as we go higher. And then taking a look after this, it's hard to say where we could go. So this is something with the fib levels. We'll have to take a look at market sentiment, the cycle top indicators, like how many of those are going off, and then look at fib levels at that point to see what are some possible price points. So obviously with Aerodrome, my big ladder outs are going to be back around the all-time high, but I'm probably not going to hit the wick. We'll probably say 220 to 225. Yeah, about 225. We'll take some more out as we get up in the $4 range, or excuse me, let's say $3.80 range. And then after that, we'll have to reevaluate the position. But I expect if Aerodrome was to pop off and just immediately end up back at the all-time high, this whole thing would have to be reevaluated. This is just one way that I look at positions to see where I might take profits. There's different ways you can do this. You can use fib levels. You can use support and resistance levels. You can do market cap analysis. So the top of last cycle, some of the other dexes hit between $5 to $10 billion, let's say. And the fact if Aerodrome was just to get up to almost the size of Uniswap and still have, say, 650 million tokens into circulation. Now, this is be an upper estimate, right? The fully diluted value could put Aero at $11.05 billion evaluation, right? So if you divide that by the $660 million market cap, that would put the price of Aerodrome, if it was able to do that, to $6.50, assuming that there was no change in the circulating supply. And that's probably why you've heard so many people talk about that $5 to $6 range as far as a price point for Aero. And if we go back to our fib retracements, of course, like the 4.2 levels sitting at 3.81, which is below this $6.50. But if you hadn't seen it, it's almost a 2x multiple of our upper range. So our next price point is going to probably be in the 650 range. I'm going to type this onto the chart as a note. because as the price, and we're going to just say market cap like Uniswap equals, excuse me, $6.50. We just leave that as a note on the top part of the chart that we'll look at as the price increases. Now, this hypothetical scenario has a lot to do with tokenomics and how that plays out, the governance system of Aerodrome and reward system, how much the ecosystem is being used, the total market cap of the crypto market, and the success of Aerodrome in the base network and that connection to Coinbase. So there's so many things that you will need to look at if you were wanting to kind of do a price analysis. Now, I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible, and I'm not skipping steps along the way just to give you all the general idea. Now, the bottom line of all this important information is that if Aerodrome Finance could scale to match Uniswap's $5.7 billion market cap, so what is our final stance on Aerodrome Finance? Not financial advice, of course, but it is neutral to cautiously bullish. And if Aerodrome has strong utility within the base network and that relationship with Coinbase, it must make sure to pay attention to the tokenomic stress and some of their UX issues. Now, drop a comment below. What is your take on the high emissions of Aero versus liquidity? Are you bullish or are you bearish? Should Aero break $1 soon, or is this dilution risk too heavy? Does Aerodrome have the strength to push up to above $5, even $10? Only time will tell. But if you want content like this, please let me know in the comments below if there's any tokens you'd want me to look at or protocols. Again, let me know in the comments below. I appreciate that each of you took some time out of your day to spend it with me. Please like and subscribe, ping that notification bell, and share this content with others in the space who would benefit, and help support the channel by checking out our links below, especially our deals with Weeks, Blowfin, and Crypto Labs Research and Tangent Wallet. Be careful out there. Don't play with too much leverage. And as the market heats back up, please take some profits. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.